Blackberry has come a very long way from this to this. But the question is, have they come far enough? Here's a review of the Blackberry Z10 or Z10, depending on where you live. Here we have the Blackberry Z10. It's a definitive phone for the company now known as Blackberry, formerly RIM, and it's the first one to run Blackberry 10 OS. The phone itself is pretty simple in design, but it has some nice touches. It's very understated. You see it's like a big black rectangular box, but there are little details along the way. Here you can see where you make phone calls. There's also a red indicator light when you have notifications that haven't been answered yet. You have a front-facing camera. On the back, you have an 8 megapixel camera, and the material on the back has like a lot of tiny little dots on it, but they're inverted. So it's a very nice, soft feels, like a soft rubbery touch. Feels very nice to it. And that goes along with the thin profile of the device. It's very slim. When you look at the phone itself, you see it's not much else going on as far as hardware. They keep it very simple. You have a micro HDMI out port. You have a micro USB charging port. At the bottom you have the speakers. They're not the greatest in audio quality, but they are at a decent volume. On the right you have your volume up and down buttons, of course, and you see this little button in the middle. That's going to be used to do voice search. So when you hold down on it and let go, search the internet for Andrew Kamika.
Searching the internet for Andrew Klida.
Okay, so obviously my last name isn't a common word, so it has some problems picking up that, but if you search for more simple things, it shouldn't be an issue. I mentioned the thin profile, and I just wanted to clarify how thin it is. 9 millimeters, so it's very nice. Overall, the device is not big at all. It measures 130 millimeters by 65.6, and that's thanks in part because RIM, or Blackberry I should say, opted to go with a 4.2 inch screen. So you get a big screen, but you don't get the obscenely large ones like you do with like a Galaxy Note or some of the other Android phones out there. And as far as the screen quality, it's pretty good. Brightness can be set high, and when it's on a sliding scale. So when you're in the sun and you're trying to go on the web, you shouldn't have any problems reading your content. Has a very nice keyboard as well. The resolution is 1280 by 768, 356 pixels per inch. So when you zoom in on text, you should see everything look clear and everything clearly legible. Shouldn't be any issues. Same thing with video. It's just a very overall nice quality screen. I mentioned the keyboard, and now if you're a Blackberry loyalist, you're familiar with physical keyboards, but this is all virtual, and it has a pretty good keyboard because if I start typing words, let's say right here, I start typing AND, and it starts to give me suggestions. Is my name Android? No, but if I put an R, and then now it says, okay, E. So if I type E, instead of pressing W and I swipe up, hold on, I held it too long. If I swipe up from E, it automatically adds Andrew, so that simplifies the process. As for the other specs, it also has a 1.5 gigahertz dual-core processor. It has an 1800 milliamp battery, and the battery is very slim, so it's easily replaceable in case you want to have a backup. The battery life was average. You know, I got through about 8 to 10 hours on moderate usage, but you will run out if you're a power user, so you might want to have a backup stored. Here are some other specs that you can see on the right-hand side. Let's take a look at the Blackberry Hub. You see on the left-hand side, it gives me a quick snapshot of notifications that I have, as well it reminds me that I have a friend whose birthday is tomorrow. That's from Facebook. When I swipe up, this is where I was in the Hub before, but let's say I was on a regular app. Let's just open a random app, okay? I can always get back to the Hub by doing a simple thing where I swipe up from the bottom of the screen, and then I see the little peak, and if I say, you know what, I want to take a look at these notifications, I can start swiping left, and I can see, hey, it's just a notification from my utility provider saying there's a storm alert. I don't care about no storm. Swipe back, and I go back to watching videos. But if it's something that I want to access I just keep swiping to the right, and I couldn't do it there. See, it's going to take some getting used to that. But aside from that, in the hub, I have Twitter notifications, emails, unread and read. I have LinkedIn notifications, Facebook alerts, all types of things. If it can go in the hub, it'll be there. And you don't even have to just wait to reply to something. You can actually compose within the hub. So while I'm there, I can search for all my notifications, find things anyway, tap compose, and then I can go on Facebook, Twitter, post status updates. I can look at my connections, or in Gmail, send a new message, send a new text, or send a BBM. So that's all pretty cool. There are some things that can be frustrating about the BlackBerry UI, and that's some of the inconsistencies. When you swipe up, typically that brings you back to the home screen. But there are times when you're swiping up, you'd think that the gesture would always start here. But actually, when you're in orientation mode, it doesn't start from the side. You have to start from the bottom as well. So you'd think that type of thing would be a consistency. Another problem is the way that they hide some of the menus. So when I launched the camera app, if I want to get to some settings, I tap this button in the bottom right corner, okay? Makes sense? I can change all of these things, but that's not actually where you go for settings. This is just for this particular shot that I'm taking. If I want to go to settings, I have to drag down. There's no indication for me to easily know that, which is kind of disappointing. And, you know, there's some inconsistencies and some hidden menus and just issues that little things that you think BlackBerry would be aware of and to try to make it easier for you to understand aren't there. The same issue appears in maps. If I want to see maps, I have to drag down to get to settings. But at the same time, I also have this additional place right here where I can tap and adjust how I want to view the map. The maps itself are another issue. They're not the greatest option out there. They tend to find addresses pretty well, but the little things like when you search for I searched for 25 West Broadway, that gave me an option of navigating to it. But because of that, it also showed me 25 West Broadway in all these cities in New Jersey. Well, that's not where I wanted to go. I typed Broadway, New York, New York. Just show me that address. Why bring up all this other stuff? So there's some little issues like that in the software. But, you know, otherwise it's solid, but there are some disappointments to be found. The BlackBerry Z10 is a good phone. The question is it the best phone for you? Now, if you're a BlackBerry loyalist, the answer is a resounding yes, because this is leaps and bounds better than anything you've had in quite a while. But if you're on Android or iPhone or even a Nokia Lumia 920, there's a good chance this probably doesn't do anything to make you switch. One great feature about this is the enterprise feature that is called BlackBerry Balance. It basically allows you to browse BlackBerry World, get your own personal apps, and control your device the way you want, but still allow your employer to have some say in how it works. So the apps that are built specifically for your job will be able to run and be installed on the device. The corporate data will be secure and sandboxed from being messed up by personal things. So it gives you the option of easily switching between the two and not having to worry about your IT manager approving every single thing you do on your phone. That's the good side. You know, there's some definite good sides to this device. Like I mentioned, the hub, it's a very convenient way of looking at information quickly. It has a great clock app. You know, you can easily set alarms and it looks nice. It has a stopwatch and timer, all of that. There are some nice things, definitely, and it's a good sign of where BlackBerry is going. But the other stuff I mentioned, like the average battery life, the lackluster camera, you know, it takes away from the overall experience. So I'd say this is a good phone, a borderline great phone. It's definitely got great hardware. The app situation is not where you'd quite want it to be just yet, but that'll come in time. At the moment, I'd say the Z10 is definitely the type of phone that BlackBerry needed to release, but I don't think this is the BlackBerry that's going to make anyone drop their iPhone or their Galaxy S3 or anything like that. But if you need to browse around quickly, this is the one to get. It's going to get you there very fast. If you need to balance your work and your entertainment lives, this is definitely capable. So this is the BlackBerry Z10. Availability across the world will vary, but contact your local carrier and see what's going to be available and when it'll be available to you.